Thank you very much. I'm going to need some help from the audience today. Can you guys do that? Need everybody to do that? Okay, so I had a question for everybody first. What is a pirate's, what kind of socks do pirates wear? You know? Argyle, right? Okay. That's all I got, man. I got a 5-year-old. So you're see the symbol, this pirate flag symbol, a lot in my presentation. And I want to talk about disruption. I want to talk about specifically something that I think will be very interesting to this audience is disruption in the media marketplace. So we'll talk about this. Disruption's a funny thing. You don't really see it coming, right? And all of a sudden, there's crazy disruption going on. You know, there's Angry Bird disruption going on, right? It's amazing. Anybody know how much companies are losing in productivity from Angry Birds a year right now? Anybody read that report the other day? It's about $1.5 billion right now. And Angry Birds is only worth, I think Rovio is worth about $1.2 billion. So they owe some companies some money, right? You know, they're lost in this. So just briefly on Collective Bias, we are a shopper media company. If you don't know what that is, great, neither do we. We are really, we're a company that's focused on creating and syndicating media targeted at a consumer with intent, basically. We're coming out of the shopper marketing world, and we're using new tools to focus on talking to consumers as they go along a path to purchase. Very simple. We're a pirate company. We're a disruptor. And we see ourselves that way very planfully, because we're thinking about what are addressable markets that we can disrupt. And right now, there's some big ones. If you look at shopper, if you look at the media that brands invest in, they spend about 7 to 8% of their total brand volume in what's known as trade marketing. Many of you know this. You're in the space. Those dollars are going to shift madly in the next few years as things like circulars go away. Now, I know there's some retail people here, and that gets a little scary, but as I used to tell my friends at Walmart, we can send this circular out as much as we want, but one day they're not going to be newspapers anymore, and we're not going to be able to send it. And they're like, no problem, we'll mail it. I'm like, well, post office is losing how much right now? $7 billion. Anyway, the reality is the dollars are going to shift, and there are going to be opportunities for people who create new forms of media that reach people very efficiently along that path. So let's talk a little bit about this idea of disruption. I will warn you, I'm a terrible speaker, so I use some dirty tricks. And one of the things I learned in speaking is get the audience on your side. So this is my daughter. Thank you. You with me? We good? Okay. This is a pirate. Oh, they like the Depster, huh? Yeah. Well, his character's based on this guy, a guy named Bartholomew Roberts, better known as Black Bart. And Black Bart was a disruptor. You know, he was a Dutch kid. He grew up, joined the Navy, and probably mad at his parents for naming him Bartholomew or something, and had some things going on. But he realized here's an economic system. You know, the Dutch were pretty much at his time the economic power of the world, and he realized, hey, I can make a lot more money if I tapped into some of that economic power, and basically the power was I got guns and boats, right? He worked his way up until he actually had commandeered a full Dutch man of war, and it was his pirate ship. And he frequently pirated slave ships because they carried gold to pay for slaves. We can argue about is this a right or wrong economic model, but the reality is this was just a different view of the economic model at the time, And this is going on today when you think about it. He was a pirate. Now, remember what we're supposed to do when we see that flag? Arr! Right. He's definitely a pirate. Anybody know this New Age pirate flag? Who's this? Anonymous, right. What's Anonymous all about? They're sort of hackers, kind of pirates. Yeah, and they're not really doing this for money, right? Or, I mean, maybe they are. Maybe they're extorting people and we just don't know about it. But, man, they've taken down some big people, right? They took down Sony. Most recently, they hacked into Fox News' Twitter account and said Obama was dead. And Fox didn't catch that for like 8 hours or something. And mistake. We weren't monitoring our Twitter that day. They very blatantly see themselves as pirates. And their piracy is because they're not happy with the way that the economic system of the Internet's being run today. And right, wrong, or indifferent, they're making a mark on that, just like Black Bart did. These guys are pirates. See, this is fun, right? That's good. Okay, Dave, Henry, where are you? Hold it up. No, hold up your BlackBerry. Yeah. Now, anybody who knows me that has a BlackBerry knows it's going to take me about 5 seconds to start abusing you about that. And it's not that I have anything personal against the BlackBerry, right? It's a great device. It served a great purpose. But its time is done. I don't know if you can see this stock chart, but that's Apple on the blue line versus BlackBerry on the orange line. So the marketplace is saying, you know what? I don't have my phone. I feel crazy. I'll break out. The reality is, this device is not about our emails or our text or even the web or anything. This is how we are communicating, relating to other people and companies and other folks. And these guys, instead of going, and they make a cool device, right? But instead of going, you know, gosh, we're going to have this arms race for phones. By the way, they weren't in the phone business, 5 years ago? Said, you know what, we're going to reframe the marketplace in a different way. So, and they use this very effectively in their advertising when you think about it today. If you don't have an iPhone, you don't have iTunes, right? This is about your music. This is about access. This is about your connectivity. And if you think about what they're doing in the marketplace right now, they are disrupting whole industries that you know, they were a computer company. Not very exciting to be a computer company today, is it? Ask Dell and HP. It's not about a box. It's about that connectivity. It's about that connectivity all the time. And they are now the most valuable company in the world. That number is basically the value of Walmart, Target, Kroger, and throw in some other people. That's hard to think about, that these guys were bankrupt, near bankruptcy about 12 years ago. It's just crazy to think about. And these guys are pirates. Arrgh. Here is one of the industries that they pirated. Now, I don't want to call anybody out, but who had this on vinyl? Oh, yeah. I rocked out to this, right? Remember this model, though? This model was bad. You got 2 songs, and Kiss was pretty good, so we probably got 4 songs that we really wanted, and 14 songs that sucked. And we had to pay for it. And we just took it because that was it. What was your other option? Oh. Huh. These guys are pirates, right? Now, they don't exist anymore, right? But what they did was they broke the industry. They basically said, we're not going to do this anymore. I want the songs that I want. And our pirates from the last conversation took advantage of it. And now I can buy this card and basically get 25 songs I want whenever I want. Actually, they changed the pricing model. They're $1.29 now for the songs you really want. I bought 2 songs on the plane coming yesterday. You know, I was just sitting there and kind of bored, so I bought some music, you know, see what was great. And what's amazing is now Apple, because they're turning on parts of the cloud, put that song that I bought on my phone, on my iPad, and on my machine automatically. So I didn't even have to think about it. You know, it's about thinking about what are my challenges as a consumer. Anybody know this guy? That's Sean Parker. Remember Sean Parker? He was the founder of Napster. He's broke, been in jail, might have done some coke. We don't know, the movie. Seen this? He is part of the Forbes 400 richest people in the world right now. Or in the United States, whatever it is. He's rich. He's worth $2.1 billion, with a B, dollars. I think I have that. Why is he worth what happened? He's bankrupt, sued, out of existence. He helped Zuckerberg think about how to grow Facebook when he was president of Facebook for a brief time. And his stock value in Facebook is valued at about, no, that's all his net worth, but whatever, I'll take it, right? This guy's a pirate. Arr! This was an article yesterday that really I thought was interesting. So Kindle's launching the Fire. I guess it's a amped up Kindle, compete with the iPad. And I thought this was an amazingly insightful article. The Kindle won't kill the iPad, but it's going to kill some retailers. Who's it going to kill? Think about this. This is a really brilliant, brilliant article. I will predict, and I've predicted this I think I'm going into my second year now, Best Buy will no longer be with us or be in a very different format in 2 years. Because Best Buy is Amazon's showroom now, right? You've heard this. It's an expensive showroom too, right? Because they've got employees. But Best Buy is making it very easy for me to walk into a Best Buy, look at all the stuff I want to buy, and then I can buy it in their store from Amazon, and because I'm an Amazon Prime member, have it shipped to my home. By the way, this is going to come to toothpaste too. And that's a little closer to home for a lot of us. See, when you start to think about it, I think a lot about why I buy toilet paper. Actually, I don't think about why I buy it. I'm pretty sure what I'm using it for. But I think about, why do I use brain time? Sally had it, our brains are so overwhelmed with stuff. Why do I use brain time thinking about buying toilet paper? When I know roughly how often my family uses a set amount of toilet paper, right? Just put that thing on replenishment and have it shipped to my house with my toothpaste, with my deodorant. By the way, once I do that and I click that replenishment button, I am never changing brands again. So first brand in wins. It occurred to me because I'm a Keurig customer, and I get all my coffee at home now through the mail. And I go and I choose my little things, but I have my main order on replenishment. It is going to change the way retail happens in the next 10 years. And again, I let them, we can debate it, but let's let the marketplace talk about it. This is Amazon versus Best Buy. It's what the marketplace is saying, where these things are going. I truly believe Walmart's biggest competitor today, and the competitor that is the most threat to that organization, is Amazon. And if Amazon ever decides, let's buy Kmart, or let's buy some land on the ground, it's going to be an interesting place to play. These guys are pirates. Arr! Right. What about this thing? What about radio? Magazines? Think about what it takes to get this to my house. We got to cut down some trees. We got to make some paper. Somebody's got to write it. We're going to do that anyway. They're going to print it. They're going to put it in a truck. They're going to take it to a guy with a smaller truck. He's going to bring it to my house at 4 in the morning and throw it in my bushes. Right? I'm good with that. I haven't canceled the paper. My wife was actually giving me some crap the other day because our renewal's up. And she says, are you going to fold when the guy comes to our house? And I do fold because I feel like I'm killing a job if I don't do this. But this is so inefficient. Oh, and the bonus is, this news is, 18 hours old at best? It's old news. I got it. I already read that stuff. I just want to see who got arrested and do I know them? Think about this. Think about these guys. $33 billion in revenue, right? Today. That's a lot. It's roughly the size of all the top four of the professional sports leagues' revenues in the United States. 97% of their revenue comes from advertising. They try to make new stuff. They sell advertising. It's good. It's good. I'm good with that. Most of it doesn't require any help. I can do this myself. We could place a Google ad right now, standing on this stage. What do you want to place one for? Got $100? Let's do it. We'll have an ad up tomorrow. These guys are big old pirates, right? Arr! I like to think about this thing a lot because I like TV. I'm sort of a junkie. I watch a lot of bad stuff. Remember when we were growing up? Think about the change in our lifetime of this device. Remember, we had 3 channels, and if you had this high piece of technology and a little brother, you could make him stand like this, and you could get that UHF channel, right? Remember that? It was awesome. We thought it was great. I got so many channels on my TV right now, I popped up a channel the other day. It was like the mason jar channel. I'm like, wow, great. We got mason jars. This is fantastic. What am I going to do all day? And we sell stuff like this still. Mustafa on a horseback selling Old Spice, right? It's the same thing. He's just in color on a horse. And it's kind of cool, but TV is now doing the same thing Apple does. I have a new TV that is internet capable in the TV. It doesn't need anything else except my Wi-Fi connection at home. One day, CNN's going to figure out, John really likes CNN. I'm going to sell him CNN for 50 cents a month. And I'm going to bypass Cox, who I hate. And I'm going to bypass all of this other stuff, and I'm going to go directly to him. Right? I mean, it's here. It's coming. This is now. This is today. It's going to change the paradigms of the billions of dollars which are spent on TV advertising, which I think, by the way, are still highly effective. But if you think about the efficiency, 20 years ago, number one show in the nation, 25 years ago, number one show in the nation was, had Bill Cosby in it, Cosby Show. Got like a 30 share, 30% of the households in the nation were watching this show. Cost, I don't know. It had a $1 million, a 30-minute segment price, or 30-second segment price. What's the number one show today? For a while. It's that American Idol, right? Reaches less than a 10% total household share, except on their premiere nights. Same price. Right? Not efficient. Marketers will find a better way and are. And this is the other problem. As Sally pointed out, anybody married? Anybody ever talk and their spouse not hear them? Not you, Dave. No. No, we are trained and we are programmed and our brains are changing to filter out messages. There is study after study after study that shows you cannot see banner ads which are on websites. You have what's called ad blindness. But yet we just keep on spinning on that stuff. And we got technology to help us too. Anybody have a DVR? Do you watch commercials? You do? Well, but you're probably a marketer and you geek out on it. Yeah, I do the same thing. Don't count. If you watch commercials and critique them, you have a problem, and that's okay. You're a marketer. That's all right. We've got tools we got spam blockers, and we've got all kinds of stuff to help us filter. So I know there are a lot of agency people in here. I'm trying to start a fight. I work for an agency too. This is me on a panel in New York at Internet Week a few months ago, and the woman sitting directly to my left in this picture is the head of an agency called Victor and Spoils. And I threw this out on a panel of about 8 people. I said, I think the ad agency model is dead. And after I got a lot of response, and we had some fun conversations. And I got accused of throwing out TechCrunch headlines and da-da-da. But after the thing, my friend said, that woman wanted to kill you. And look, it's an incendiary statement. I realize that. I'm saying it to be incendiary. You know, I don't believe that the model is dead, but we can probably agree it's going to change pretty radically. And it's changing right now. Your clients, if you work at an agency, are asking you some fun questions today, right? Like, what's my Zynga strategy? That's a serious question. McDonald's you can grow potatoes in Farmville to sell to McDonald's now, right? It's kind of cool. Who plays Farmville? Nobody, right? 20 million people a day play a Zynga game. That's bigger than CBS's network. Think about that. Bigger than CBS's entire network. So I want to show you a model that could or could not be a right model, but a model. And we like to think of it as a social media vertical. Basically a print ad, a radio ad, any kind of ad you could think of in our traditional world, just run in social media. And we like to have it start around some kind of content. In this case, we'll go with a blog, right? Some kind of user-produced content. We have several bloggers in our audience today that are part of a network that we operate called Social Fabric that produce this kind of content and produce this kind of content for their audiences and based on their readers. And then once they produce some content in this format, and I'm using blog, but Twitter is a form of blogging, Instagram is a form of blogging, anything that you produce, you know, this is just a generic word. One day we'll find a new word. But then they begin to syndicate. So if you think about syndication being on Pinterest or on a corporate website or ratings and reviews or Twitter or Facebook, YouTube, these are all forms of syndication for content, right? And what we believe is we can create a model where we put all of these things together and mimic the types of content creation and syndication we have today in TV, print, radio, other forms of media. And marketers can start using this and measure this and put this in their media mix. Predictably, I know who it's going to reach. I can compare it against apples to apples against other things that I could purchase. It's just about efficiency, right? So I'll show you a quick example. Glidden Paint is a client, and we helped Glidden launch a campaign to launch a new product at Walmart a few months ago. And it started with a blog post. And everybody, this is the next question I get is, that's great, how many people does that reach? Good question. The average person in our community has a network reach of about 25,000 people. So we'll use 50 to do this. And we'll create 50 pieces like this. And 5 times 25, Sally, you don't do math, what is that? It's 1.25 million people reach just with the base content. And then we begin to syndicate it. When I say we syndicate it, the creators syndicate it. Places like Twitter, content like Flickr or Instagram or Pinterest or whatever. And you're able to bring in some really unique kind of things to this form of advertising. You're able to bring in the shopping experience. That's the picture on the left is the display at Walmart. The center picture is the checkout lane, is the cashier, and then the final products. All of this content begins to accumulate a library of information that people are finding primarily in some kind of search or some kind of activity stream. So what are the results? You know, we as we talk to people go, yeah, that's great, but I don't believe social media really, I mean, what does a tweet really do for you? Anybody hear that? What is that? It doesn't really work. I mean, it's great, it's nice. Well, I'll show you some results from this campaign. Measured about 14.6 million impressions, measuring that through Radian 6, which is a Nielsen of the social space. Share of voice. One interesting thing to measure today in the social space is how much share of voice do you have in a space. Now, share of voice, you know, needs analytics to understand, is that positive or negative, is it neutral, what it is. But ultimately, if people are talking about you, you can measure that, and you can understand how much of that share of voice do you own. And what's interesting is now you can compare this to other types of activities. Is CPM the right measurement? I don't think so, but I think it gives you a baseline to start comparing to other things. There's so many other things you can compare here. One we like is to look at what kind of search engine results do you have prior to a campaign. So in this case, a search result of Glidden and Walmart yields about 210,000 results. 2 weeks later into this campaign, a little over 500,000 results. So this is being driven by the syndication that's happening. It's been driven by the contents created. This campaign created about 2,500 pieces of content from blogs and pictures and videos and what have you. And I think that's kind of interesting. Is that the Holy Grail? I don't know. But I think we have to start making some measurements and some lines in the sand, because if you look at how we are consuming media, there's a lot of studies that show we are connected. The social web is now the number one thing we do on the internet. And we do it from our phones, we do it from our computers, we do it from our tablets. And frequently we are doing it while we're interacting with other media. There's a survey recently that showed about 60% of people watching TV have some device and are connected to their social web. And they might be talking about what's on TV, but more likely they're probably connecting with Facebook and connecting with their friends. So the big question is, did we move any product? And in this case, this 3-week campaign yielded an average lift of about 51%. And there were some other elements of this campaign, but none of which would have had huge impact like TV or a print campaign. There were digital coupons. There were other things that were integrated very seamlessly into the campaign. So I wanted to leave you with a couple thoughts, and then if you are interested, be happy to answer questions that I think are valuable. Oh, by the way, we're pirates. I like it. Things to think about. Media's changing. We can talk about that. I think we can agree. And I think if anybody tells you they know how media is changing, I'd be skeptical. I do this every day, and I learn something new basically every day when I wake up. Marketers' needs are changing. Brands' needs, or retailers' needs are changing because engagement. We talked about relationships and building ongoing relationships. Engagement is changing. We do not have a push. We do not live in a push marketing world any longer. Consumer behavior is changing. How we shop for things, how we get information, how we find things. When I come to a town, and I love coming to Jacksonville. We're very good friends. Dave Henry is on our board, so I'm here quite often. We have some clients here. I love coming here, and I love discovering new things. And how do I do that? I take out my iPhone, and I use Google, or I use Yelp, or and I find great restaurants, and I find great things to do. And I know those things are pretty good because usually somebody in my social graph has left a rating or review. And Google will show me that now. Google says, I'm connected to you by an event we went to, or an email, or whatever. It's making some sort of connection. And if Dave Henry said, that restaurant is terrible, I'm probably not going there, right? Because his opinion, no matter what anything else said. One question you may want to just ask yourself, what are you going to change today? Because you can do something different today. You can create a Pinterest page about your interests. Everybody know Pinterest? You like Pinterest? I'm sort of addicted to it. Trying to get over it, 12-step. But you can do things differently as a marketer, but just as as an individual, as a consumer, because the way I think to understand what is going on is to use these tools, and it doesn't, it doesn't mean you have to be the best Twitterer reader out there, our YouTube producer or Instagram photo maker or whatever, but you've got to use the tools to understand how they work, and you've got to use the tools to understand how they're going to relate to the consumers that you're ultimately trying to reach. So that's it. Love to take some questions if there are any, or I can go away. This is our pirate logo. We don't use this in public because it scares people. When I left Walmart, we were about a month old, and we went to a meeting, and somebody said, "You guys are like a bunch of armed monkeys." And I'm like, okay. So, like a logo. It's good to have your own creative people. Can I answer any questions? Is everybody still awake? You want me to throw some more Angry Birds out? Thoughts? Well, thank you. I appreciate your time.